Yo, what is good, guys? I hope you all had a good weekend. I'm a little sunburned. I went kayaking earlier today. But, anyways, I got a lot of stuff to tell you guys in this video. We're going to be talking about the VIX. I see a big pattern that could be a very big signal for the overall markets. Of course, SPY and our biotech and semiconductors sectors ETFs, because we have been making an absolute killing on this stuff, especially if you've been following it or if you're in the Discord. We've been sniping the bottoms and tops on the dot. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Make sure to show it some love, give it a like and subscribe, and let's just get into it. I'm just going to make sure you get all the information you need and nothing else. So these are the earnings. This is very important because you have a lot of big companies reporting earnings this week. So screenshot this, whatever. This is some of these companies can and will move the market. So you got Alphabet, Amazon, Intel, Roku, Teladoc, big companies. So keep an eye out for these. Let me move this just so you can see these companies down here. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the earnings. Those can be big for this week. So we're gonna start off with the VIX because this is pretty important. We're at a very big trend line here on the longer time frames, which we have pretty much just bounced from. It's a tricky chart. I've been looking at it on the logarithmic scale and off of it, and I think this is the best line to draw. You got a bounce here, and I think you're in a falling wedge, which, if you don't know, is a bullish reversal pattern, and this can produce a very powerful reversal just based on how tightly we have consolidated into a pretty relevant, significant trend line. So you're really gonna want to be watching the VIX right now, because this thing breaks out, the markets are probably gonna drop. You're gonna see a spike in the fear and volatility for sure. So you're gonna want to keep an eye on this for a breakout. And yeah, that's really it for VIX. But it's definitely important. So we're gonna talk about biotech. If you watched my previous video, you know I showed you I day traded it. Showed you the profits too, I believe, and we got that big bounce. So if you're in the Discord, you know we got back into it, and we wrote it up on Friday, 11%, I believe. So crazy profits. The whole market was dropping like a rock, and we were all short in biotech, semiconductors, and SPY. And my accounts went crazy green on Friday, all week actually. So it was a really good week for me, and yeah, so LabD, you got that big bounce at that trend line here. That was the big one I was watching. I bought down here for that day trade, sold it here, bought back in, and wrote it up like crazy. And that's really it for biotech. XBI. So yeah, big things here. This is the biotech ETF. So I'm not sure how I'm doing this Elliott wave count here, because this might be an ABC where it's in a longer term consolidation phase. So you could come all the way back down here, especially if the market makes those lower lows during the fall, going into the fall. But it's going to be interesting to see how it interacts with this trend line down here, because I really think that's kind of the last support in this region. So we're going to see how it reacts with it on Monday, Tuesday, because if you don't bounce, I think you're going to go into a pretty hard free fall. You have a gap here, so that's one thing to look out for. But yeah, I think this is the most important trend line to be watching right now, and see how it interacts with that trend line in the gap. So that's it for XBI. I'm looking for a lot of upside on this, but we just have to see the overall market go our way. So that's it for biotech. I'm going to talk about that semiconductors. So if you've been following my videos, we were watching this last week right before the bill passed, and we got in before the bill passed. We got in right around here in the Discord, gapped up. We rode it all the way up to 1870 to my target, and what did we do when we got there? We got that gap fill. We sold and went short. And what did that short do? Inverse ETF. It bounced. We got a big bounce from that. 10%, something like that. We bought on that trend line. Some people even sniped it with their fibs or whatever strategies they were using, but we sniped that low. We got a big bounce from it, and that was really fun to play. Really good money on that. I have not been this confident about a play in quite a while. So sorry if you can hear my dog. Those are my dogs barking, but oh well, you're just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. So yeah, you got that big bounce. They were barking too loud, so I had to pause it for a little. But back to the video. So we got that big bounce. It was a nice bounce, and we're gonna see how it does on Monday, Tuesday, and a lot of that will be up to how the overall markets do, which we're gonna go over very shortly. So there's not too much to say about this. We're really just gonna see how this develops for the next few days. We might get another retrace a little higher and go lower, but yeah, we're just gonna have to see how this plays out. I still do think there's more downside on this. So on to SPY. Pretty important. You know, yesterday's video I gave you guys the whole layout. I told you what was gonna happen, what trend line we were gonna get rejected from, and so far, all this stuff might look a little complicated, but I promise you, I'm gonna make it make sense to you. It's worth watching because there's a lot of valuable information in this, where I can really tell you guys the bottom and tops where that's gonna be, where it's gonna go. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take anything I say seriously. But my point is, I'm pretty good with the charts. So yeah, worth watching. So we got rejected at that trend line. I was really stressing this one in my last video. We got rejected off of it, and yeah, we're at this next trend line, which was in my Discord. I put it up. I said, watch this trend line here. You know, we got that drop right down to it, and we got a bounce from it. So we're gonna see how that does on Monday and Tuesday as well. But I have some things I want to explain quick to point out. So on Wednesday and Thursday, we got this bounce from the Ganfan. I explained this in one of my previous videos. So instead of having like horizontal supports and supports, you know, you draw from a high to a high, this has a lot to do with geometrical proportions and how the human mind likes to it has a tendency to I guess trend towards satisfaction, and a lot of this has to do with Elliott wave theory, which I did on semiconductors. That's how I did the tops and bottoms on this thing. But a lot of this is just a lot of it's geometry and just satisfaction to the human eye. So it's very interesting. The stock market has a lot to do with human psychology because I think it's really the biggest mass collection of human psychology in one place. You have all these human traders doing all this trading, and there's a lot of emotion involved. So that's what I trade off of. I trade off of human emotion and the psychology of the human mind. So if you can do that, then you can kind of read what the charts are going to do. Biggest thing, you just got to block out your own emotions. So I'm going to leave that stuff for another video. But back to the charts. You know, you bounced from that Ganfan, and that was a big area. And you got that fake out gap fill, which I pointed out in my other video. I said SPY likes to do a lot of fake out gap fills where it goes into the gap but doesn't fill it completely, and that's what we got. So a lot of stuff I pointed out in my last video played out the next day, and yeah, I just have a list I'm going over. I had a lot of stuff to show you guys, so I want to make sure I got everything down, and I'm telling you guys all of it. So the Keltner channel, you know, I also pointed this out in one of my previous videos. I got rejected at the top of it. I showed you guys, just go watch my last video. I said there was like absolutely no way we're gonna get much higher than this. You at the top of a gap, and like in a gap, you got so many trend lines. Just go look at that last video. You're at the top of the Keltner channel, you had all those bearish signals, divergences. There was basically no way we could have broken all of those resistances in that one area, because I just didn't see it. I saw no possibility of it. So you can see we got rejected at that channel, as well as that trend line, that fake out gap fill. And I'm going to talk about these indicators quick. So the ADX, throughout this whole uptrend, in the uptrend on the short terms, it was a confirmed trend. I believe on the 30-minute. It was not really that long, actually. I might be wrong. Yeah, very, very, very short term. When the white line is above this purple dashed line, it's in a trend, a sustainable trend, but when it's below it, it's either in a distribution phase or an accumulation phase, which has to do with Wyckoff theory and all the institutions doing their trading through the dark pools or whatever, selling when everyone's buying and buying when everyone's selling. So if you're interested in Wyckoff theory, I can explain that a little and do some of that in my videos, but for this one, I'm just going to explain some of the stuff I'm seeing. I don't want this to be too much longer, this video, so I'm just gonna tell you guys what you need to know. So all these bearish signals started playing out. Just go watch my last video. I really think that's actually an important one, and it does give you an outlook for the future still. This is really just a recap of everything and how literally all of it went the way I expected. But you had these big trend lines and all of these indicators. So I'm going to show you these divergences quick. The MACD, when the MACD is going lower while the price is going higher, those are divergences where it's showing momentum is going down, bullish strength is slowing, there's exhaustion, and that's what was happening. So we're getting that drop down to those trend lines, and you're seeing all this momentum and coming down in the 4 hour. I think this is another big thing to watch. The MACD on the 4 hour. It's crossing over, hasn't crossed over in a while, and when it crosses over, it drops pretty harshly. So take precaution. Maybe we somehow squeeze a little higher. I would think it would be the 407 to 416, but gotta leave that in mind. Could happen somehow, but yeah, the daily still isn't showing complete signs of a slowdown. But another big thing that I did come across was on the ADX, on the 1 day, the ADX never went green. So this is very interesting because you got to a point where it could have turned and kept going higher, but you never got confirmation of that momentum completely turning green. So the ADX also wasn't above that purple line, so there was never a confirmed trend, just probably distribution. So institutions doing their distribution before another drop. So I'm looking for another big drop. If you're into cycle theory, we're going into a nested zone where there is an increased amount of risk that can really accelerate a drop here. So I would be extremely careful with what your decisions are in this market for the next few weeks, because we could make new lows sooner than you think. So keep an eye out for that. You're at all those big trend lines. That GAN fan, if you break this thing, you're going to be testing those lows again, I think. So I think that's where I'm going to leave this video. I gave you all the information I wanted you guys to know. If you watch this whole thing through, give it a like and subscribe. So you always know what's coming next. And check out the Discord if you're interested. That's going to be down below. And that's it for this video. So peace out, guys.